Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is from Canto 2, Chapter 1, and Text 15. And we're fortunate this morning to have Her Grace Gita Devi Dasi from ISKCON Atlanta to give the class. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, and it's all yours. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura, Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajakacarya Stotra Shat Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter number 1, Text number 15. Antakale tu purusha agate gata sadhavasaha chindayada sangshastrena spriham dehe anuyechatam. Antakale, at the last stage of life. Tu, but. Purushaha, a person. Agate, having arrived. Gata sadhavasaha, without any fear of death. Chindayat, must cut off. Asanga, non-attachment. Shastrena, by the weapon of. Spriham, all desires. Dehi, in the matter of the material tabernacle. Anu, pertaining. Ye, all that. Cha, also. Tam, them. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death, but one must cut off all attachment to the material body and everything pertaining to it and all desires thereof. Purport. The foolishness of gross materialism is that people think of making a permanent settlement in this world, although it is a settled fact that one has to give up everything here that has been created by valuable human energy. Great statesmen, scientists, philosophers, etc., who are foolish without any information of the spirit soul, think that this life of a few years only is all in all, and that there's nothing more than death. This poor fund of knowledge, even in the so called learned circles of the world, is killing the vitality of human energy, and the awful result is being keenly felt. And yet, the foolish materialistic men do not care about what is going to happen in the next life. The preliminary instruction in the Bhagavad Gita is that one should know that the identity of the individual living entity is not lost even after the end of this present body, which is nothing but an outward dress only. As one changes an old garment, so the individual living being also changes his body. And this change of body is called death. Death is therefore a process of changing the body at the end of the duration of the present life. An intelligent person must be prepared for this and must try to have the best type of body in the next life. The best type of body is a spiritual body, which is obtained by those who go back to the kingdom of God or enter the realm of Brahman. In the second chapter of this canto, this matter will be broadly discussed, but as far as the change of body is concerned, one must prepare now for the next life. Foolish people attach more importance to the present temporary life, and thus the foolish leaders make appeals to the body and the bodily relations. The bodily relations extend not only to this body but also to the family members, wife, children, society, country, and so many other things which end at the end of life. After death, one forgets everything about the present bodily relations. We have a little experience of this at night when we go to sleep. While sleeping, we forget everything about this body and bodily relations, although this forgetfulness is a temporary situation for only a few hours. Death is nothing but sleeping for a few months in order to develop another term of bodily engagement, which we are awarded by the law of nature according to our aspiration. Therefore, one has only to change the aspiration during the course of this present body, and for this, there is a need of training in the current duration of human life. This training can begin at any stage of life or even a few seconds before death. But the usual procedure is for one to get the training from very early life, from the stage of brahmacharya, and gradually progress to the grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas orders of life. The institution which gives such training is called Varnashrama Dharma, or the system of Sanatan Dharma, the best procedure for making the human life perfect. One is therefore required to give up the attachment to family or social or political life just at the age of 50 years, if not earlier, and the training in the Vanaprastha and Sannyas ashrams is given for preparation of the next life. Foolish materialists, in the garb of leaders of the people in general, stick to family affairs without attempting to cut off relations with them, and thus they become victims of nature's law and get gross bodies again according to their work. Such foolish leaders may have some respect from the people at the end of life, but that does not mean that such leaders will be immune to the natural laws under which everyone is tightly bound by the hands and feet. The best thing is, therefore, that everyone voluntarily give up family relations by transferring the attachment from family, society, country, and everything thereof to the devotional service of the Lord. It is stated herein that one should give up all desires of family attachment. One must have a chance for better desires. Otherwise, there is no chance of giving up such morbid desires. Desire is a concomitant factor of the living entity. The living entity is eternal, and therefore his desires, which are natural for a living being, are also eternal. One cannot, therefore, stop desiring, but the subject matter for desires can be changed. So one must develop the desire for returning home back to Godhead, and automatically the desires for material gain, material honor, and material popularity will diminish in proportion to the development of devotional service. A living being is meant for service activities, and his desires are centered around such a service attitude. Beginning from the top executive head of the state down to the insignificant pauper in the street, all are rendering some sort of service to others. The perfection of such a service attitude is only attained simply by transferring the desire of service from matter to spirit, or from Satan to God. Excuse me. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The translation once again: at the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death, but one must cut off all attachment to the material body and everything pertaining to it and all desires thereof. Shukadev Goswami, the great sage, is continuing his valuable instructions to King Parikshit Maharaj, who has been cursed to die in 7 days. In fact, Parikshit Maharaj is very fortunate because he has an appointment with death. So he knows he has 7 days. Unfortunately, we do not have that facility or that good fortune. So here, excuse me, Shukadev Goswami is guiding the king on how to become fearless at the time of death. Prabhupada has said before also that death is very painful because the soul is being pulled out of the body by force. Why? Because no one wants to die. In fact, this is such an important verse for us because we get knowledge on how to be fearless at death. How? It's possible only when one is detached, completely detached from what? From this material body and also the desires. Very, very important. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, Krishna says, Antakale chamam eva smaran muktva kalivaram. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. This is a guarantee of Krishna. So, how will we become fearless at death? Only if we are able to remember Krishna at the time of death. And that is why Srila Prabhupada has given us the whole process. You see, in this material world, no one wants to die. And most people believe they are going to live forever. They forget that they came empty handed and they have to leave empty handed. There's nothing we can take with us. There's no permanent residence in this material world. Just like when we rent an apartment, there is a lease. If it's a 1 year lease, 2 year lease, whatever it may be, when the lease expires, the tenant has to leave the apartment. The same is with this body. This body we have on lease. And when the lease is over, we will have to leave this body. So, knowing this, still, people are so much engrossed in spending time and effort in acquiring things, houses, cars, bank balance, positions in the corporate world, etc., etc. Everything has to be left behind when we leave the body. As Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, many say there is no life after death. And that is because of lack of knowledge, lack of valuable association. And this is why this is their thought process. And most people, they don't even want to know what after death. And what does Prabhupada call such people? Foolish people, mudhas, foolish people. But as per the Bhagavad Gita, we need to know what is our true identity, that we are spirit soul, we are eternal. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit, that the soul, there is no birth, there is no death. It's this body which is temporary. Body is just like a dress. Right? We learned in Bhagavad Gita, Vasamsi Jinani Yatha Vihaya, that this body is just an outward dress, which we keep changing. The soul keeps going from body to body to body. And this change of body, Prabhupada says, is called death. So As they say, as sure as death. Death is for sure. For those who are born, they are sure to die, and after death, one is sure to be born again, as per Bhagavad Gita. So, when there is so much talk about death, which is certain, then it is important for us to become fearless and prepare ourselves for death, which can happen anytime. It can be after a minute, an hour, a day, months, weeks, years, whatever it may be. But death is sure to come. So why not prepare ourselves to be fearless at the time of death, where we are not struggling, where we are able to remember Krishna? And for that, as per Srila Prabhupada, we need training. Learn the art of being detached from everything, everybody, whether it is our family relations, whether it's our possessions. Just be completely detached. And a very important word in this verse is become bold. You see? And how is that possible? That is possible when we become, see, detachment becomes possible when we are attached to something. Then detachment is automatic. How? When we get attached to the loving service to Krishna, then automatically we will get detached. Now, getting detached from desires or from family, etc., doesn't mean we don't care for them, doesn't mean that we don't love them. Yes, but we are not attached. That's the difference. Now, how to get attached to Krishna is $1 million question. It's very simple. Chant, chant, chant. Just by chanting and hearing those sound vibrations, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just by chanting and hearing, we can gradually get attached to Krishna. And how will that happen? Because by chanting attentively, we are cleansing our hearts. And that cleansing process helps us to get attached to Krishna. And then when we start getting attached to Krishna, we start becoming fearless. Why? Because then we will realize that now that I'm practicing chanting on a daily basis, regularly, attentively, with a lot of sincerity, then that satisfaction is there that because of this process that I'm following, at the time of death, I'll be able to remember Krishna. And so there is no fear. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatante kalevaram. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever state of mind we are in, whatever we are thinking at the time of death, to that state we will attain without fail. Which means if we are remembering Krishna at the time of death, we will go to Krishna. But for that, we have to chant every day. And that'll make us become bold. And how do we become bold? When we understand this is it, this is the process, this is the way to go back to the spiritual world. There is no other way. When Krishna came down for 538 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he say? Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam kalo nasteva 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 gatiranyatha. Chanting, chanting, chanting. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. So when we chant every day attentively, then we will be able to remember the holy name of Krishna and we will be fearless. Now, Prabhupada says that intelligent people take on the knowledge and they try to understand that this body is temporary and they start working towards their future. They start thinking, what next? What will happen after death? They inquire. They understand that after death, I don't want a material body again. I want a spiritual body because I don't want to come back here. So if we decide we don't want to come back here, then we have to know, then where? Where do we go? To the spiritual world. Okay, now that we know our goal is spiritual world, how to get there, right? Supposing I decide I want to go to India, okay, how do I get there? Then I make plans. Okay, these are the dates. This is where I'm going to buy a ticket, airline ticket, and this is how I'm going to reach my destination. So we need to understand, as Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, the best thing is to obtain a spiritual body and go back to the spiritual world. And to do that, we need to prepare now. You see, in Hindi, there's a very nice saying, Kal kare so aaj kare so ab. Whatever you're planning to do tomorrow, do it today. And whatever you're doing today, plan to do it now, right now. So the preparation is, first of all, chanting attentively, taking on knowledge, hearing, and realizing I'm not this body. This body is temporary. The body relationships that I have, they are all temporary. And understand that at death, I have to leave behind everything. Cannot take anything with me next birth. I remember one time I was giving a class on Bhagavad Gita, and it was for those who were new to Bhagavad Gita. And there was this couple very attached to each other, especially the wife was very attached to her husband. They were newly married, obviously. So she asked me a question that when I die, can I take my husband with me? How is that possible? Everyone has a different appointment with death, unless, of course, it's in a car accident when both die together. That's a different story. But still, the destination may be different. It depends on what is the thought process. It depends on what are they remembering at the time of death. So we need to prepare now. Everything is going to be left behind. Cannot take anything with, not even our spouse with us to the next birth. And Srila Prabhupada says, what is death? It is like sleeping for a few months because another body is getting developed in the womb. And the soul is encaged in the womb. And of course, the next body we get based on our past activities, our past karma. So, if we want to avoid coming back into this material world, we need to start training now. And the first step is to accept bona fide authority, a bona fide spiritual master. Learn from the spiritual master, inquire, get knowledge, learn the process of self realization. And what I really liked, amongst other points, was Prabhupada says it's never too late to start. Sometimes I hear, those who have come to Krishna consciousness, they say, oh, I wasted so much of my time. I'm already 35. I'm already 40 years old. I wish I had been exposed to Bhakti Yoga long back. That's okay. Prabhupada says, never too late. It depends on our sincerity. How sincere are we to progress on our spiritual path? We may have been exposed a long time ago, but if you're not serious, then what is the use? And this process is also called Sanatana Dharma. Srila Prabhupada talks about Varnashram Dharma, which of course is laid down by the Supreme Lord Himself. And that can help one when we follow the Varnashram Dharma, it can help us to make our human life perfect. Understand that the purpose of human life is self-realization. And according to Varnashram Dharma, one should give up family attachment by the age of 50, if not earlier. Why? Because it is time for Vanaprasthashram, which is retired life, which means the husband and wife together, they are retired and they are trying to progress more spiritually, helping each other progress spiritually. That is vanaprastha. And that means detachment from the family. And the best thing is to give up attachment voluntarily, not being forced. And then transfer our attachment from bodily relations to Krishna, which means start performing devotional service to Krishna. And it should be voluntary, not that we are forced to do that. And the easy way is yes, we know that we have a lot of desires every day, thousands of desires every day, constantly desires popping up in our minds. What do? We cannot stop desires, but we can at least dovetail them to Krishna. Cannot become, I decide today, okay, from tomorrow, no more desires. I am not going to have any more desire. That's not practical at all. It is natural to have desires, but we should know how can we mold those desires in Krishna's service. If one has a very strong desire to go back to the spiritual world, like Prabhupada says, finish your business in this life and go back to Godhead. If we have that strong desire, then automatically material desires will start going down, they start subsiding. It's like when spiritual life goes up, material life starts going down. This is a natural process. It's nothing forced. It becomes natural. And if we understand that our constitutional position is to serve Krishna, Jivera Swarupoe, Krishnera, Nitya Das. Nitya means eternal servant. We are meant to serve him. So if we make Krishna the center of all our activities, then we will start developing better service attitude. And it becomes easier when we have very good association of devotees. Then automatically, like Prabhupada says in the purport, transfer our desires, transfer our desire of service from material to spiritual, from matter to spirit. You see, the problem is most people in this material world are trying to enjoy, but they are doing it in a sinful way. You see, desire is always existing that I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy, I want to enjoy. But people are only interested in enjoying. And not only just enjoying to the best of their capacity, the best. Even animals desire to enjoy. We've heard that story of Lord Indra, who was cursed and he came down as a hog in this material world. And he became so engrossed in enjoying with the spouse and the children that he even forgot he is the king of heaven. Lord Brahma had to come down and remind him, what are you doing? He said, no, I'm enjoying here. Imagine the enjoyment of a hog. So even animals have a desire to enjoy, but they don't have higher intelligence like we do. What do human beings do? Because they have higher intelligence, they enjoy in a sophisticated way. But the idea is the same, to enjoy. So since we as human beings have, we can say well-developed intelligence, philosophical intelligence, we should understand the purpose of human life instead of trying to maximize our enjoyments. And Prabhupada says, this is true amongst everybody. It doesn't matter what nationality, what religion, from where we come. No, the desire to enjoy is the same. That's a common factor for everybody. I want to enjoy. And unfortunately, in this yuga, Kali Yuga, the desire to enjoy is unrestricted. In previous yugas, yes, there was a desire to enjoy, but it was By following regulations. It was restricted. Eating was regulated. Everything was regulated. But in Kali Yuga, unregulated. Eat anything, everything that you see. Are we a trash can that we just dump anything in our body? No. Regulation. But people don't like rules and regulations. They want to be free. Don't tell me do this, do that, or do that. No, no. But Krishna, he has laid down religious principles so that we can regulate our senses. We enjoy, but in a boundary, within the boundary, we enjoy. That's why there are four regulative principles: no meat eating, fish, eggs, onion, garlic, no tea, coffee, intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. These are the rules and regulations. These are the four regulative principles that we need to follow if we want to lead life as a human being, not as an animal. So the root cause is desire to enjoy. That's a realistic problem. People, for them, it's very hard to give up that tendency to enjoy. You know, we may hear, I'm not this body. You know, we may hear philosophical instructions from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. But still, we are helpless when there is a desire to enjoy. If you remember in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked Krishna a question: why is one forced to commit sinful activities as if being forced? They understand it is wrong, but still they commit sinful activities. Why? What did Krishna say? Kama isha krodha isha. It is lust only. It's because of lust that people commit sinful activities. Now, lust doesn't just mean lust for opposite sex, it also means lust for money, fame, power, position. It could be anything. So, people, unfortunately, are very strongly driven by the desire to enjoy. So, power to restrict themselves is missing. We have heard the story of Vishwamitra, the great sage. He performed austerities for 10,000 years. But when Indra sent a very beautiful lady, Menaka, to him, his austerity was disturbed, even though he was a great sage. Even powerful yogis become helpless against desire. So, what to speak about people like us? And when we come to think of it, even though the desire to enjoy is there, people try to enjoy. Most of them are unsatisfied even after enjoying. And that leads to frustration. So they see no other hope, so they continue to enjoy more and more. It's like chewing the chewed, like Prahlad Maharaj gives us instruction in Bhagavatam. Something that's already been chewed, all the juices out of the sugar cane, and still we are trying to chew the chewed, hoping that one drop of juice will be experienced by us. But that doesn't happen because it's already chewed. So the result is dissatisfaction. Still trying, still engrossed in trying to enjoy. And they forget that there is higher taste, which is bhakti yoga, spirituality. But they have no time for higher taste. And in the process, they keep getting pushed, keep getting pushed, keep getting pushed to desire to enjoy more and more. And that's why running after sense objects, I want this and I want that. But they forget that there are consequences to all our actions. Every action has a reaction. So, if we can understand that we cannot become desireless, we cannot stop desiring, it is natural for us to desire. So, the solution is, Prabhupada says in the purport, desire has to be changed. Simple as that. One must, one must try for a better desire. Change the subject of desires. Change. Whatever the subject matter for desires is, just change. And how? By changing the desire to come back into this material world to going back to the spiritual world. That is changing the subject matter of desire. Then automatically the material desires will start coming down. Now, of course, that will depend on our level of devotional service. How much time, effort, and meditation we are putting into our spiritual lives. How deeply are we chanting? How attentively are we chanting? How sincerely are we hearing from these scriptures? So it all depends on our level of devotional service. So if we can somehow the others, somehow the other have our desires centered around Krishna, then automatically our desires will change because we will get higher taste. Just like a child is eating mud. If we keep telling the child, stop eating mud, the child is not going to listen to us. But if we give higher taste to the child, like, give candy to the child, immediately the child will give up eating mud because candy has higher taste, better taste than mud. So Srila Prabhupada, he has given us the whole process, which starts with attentive chanting. Once we start chanting attentively, everything else will fall in place. You need to associate with devotees. Eat only Krishna Prasadam, read Srila Prabhupada's books, do some service, give this knowledge to others. You see, we are so fortunate that we have this process given by Srila Prabhupada, process to be in Krishna consciousness. He's given us everything. He's given us temples, devotee association, prasadam, festivals, deities, hearing, chanting, everything. So all we just need to do is that somehow or the other have, our spiritual desires reawakened. Those are positive desires. The desire to somehow or other render service to the Supreme Lord. And this again will become possible when we start developing service attitude. What more do we want? Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. We have all the facilities, we have all the books, we have the opportunity. All that is needed is to become very serious in the spiritual path. Because this is our only hope. There's no other hope. We may try, but there is no other way. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, there is no other way, no other way, no other way except chanting, chanting, chanting. That's the only way. Then we will become bold and become fearless at the time of death. When we start chanting attentively, we will start getting detached from material relations. We'll get detached from desires, material desires, and it'll make us bold because we'll become confident that because I'm practicing Krishna consciousness seriously every day, that Krishna is going to help me remember him at the time of death, and that will make us fearless. You see, that is the only way. There is no other way. The translation once again. At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death, but one must cut off all attachment to the material body and everything pertaining to it and all desires thereof. So I'll stop here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for a nice class. I know Dear Krishna Prabhu has his hand up. Let me read the text that was sent much earlier. I think Radhapad Prabhu sent this, and I think he may have left because he wanted to do more. I know work is part of the reason. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept.
Another another super nice class today, as you always give.
All
Enjoyed
Prabhupada.
a lot listening to your class. Thank you very much for being such a nice and self-realized devotee. All glories to your service
All
and
glories to
all
Srila
glories to your good
Prabhupada.
self. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we wanted to acknowledge this. Okay. So, dear Krishna Prabhu, please go on and unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please
All
accept
grace to Srila
my
Prabhupada.
glories to Srila
Thank
Prabhupada.
you so much, Mataji. Such a wonderful class.
All
Always
glories.
hearing to you is like a fresh air, fresh breeze all the time. Fresh look at Srila Prabhupada's purports understanding. Thank you so much for that.
All
Mataji, you brought a very wonderful point about um, services involuntarily or voluntarily. I'm sorry, it's voluntarily. How to practically implement it? If you can please elaborate a little bit more on that.
So generally, we don't like to serve because we want to be the master. We, that position, that not the position, that tag of servant doesn't suit us. We don't like to be called a servant. But we can start from small, take small steps in the sense, start serving the family members first, like the spouse, children, in the sense, start serving, having that service attitude, start from home, and then start serving the devotees that we know or meet in the temple in little ways. It could be serve prasadam, right? What happens in the temple Sunday feast after the lecture is over? There's a long line to stand, to get prasad because everyone loves prasad. But we can start with that service attitude. Let me serve the devotees today, right? Instead of standing in the line, be first in the line to get a plate to eat. Let me first start serving. So that little by little, we can start that service attitude where, and again, Prabhupada gives the same point over and over again. If we start chanting attentively, the service attitude will become natural for us. We won't have to try hard, or start making some plans. How? No, it'll become natural. We would want to serve. So just start from, say, because our family, most of us, the whole family is Krishna conscious. You see, they are all devotees because they are chanting. So why not start serving them in little ways, right? It could be, say, you can help your wife in the kitchen or in doing laundry or whatever it is. It may sound like look like a material activity, but no, it becomes spiritual because you're serving a devotee. You see, so with that attitude, when we do take those small steps, then we'll be able to develop that desire to have that service attitude all the time, whether we are, with someone else, or we are in the temple, or in a gathering. That service attitude will develop. Just concentrate on attentive chanting. Okay, I hope that helps.
Yeah, Mataji, thank you so much for making it practical. And it's a very nice consciousness that my family is also devotee, so we can also practice at home in that way. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
And in the process, what will happen, we will become aware that we don't commit Vaishnava aparadh. Sometimes we take family for granted, right? They are devotees, but familiarity breeds contempt. So we think, oh, okay, that's their job to be Krishna conscious. But no, they are also devotees, right? Yes, Aparna, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble
Please
obeisances. All
accept
glories to
my
Srila Prabhupada.
Mr. Prabhu.
Mataji, I've been enjoying listening to your lectures, and more than enjoying, I'm learning a lot from your lectures.
God
And
bless you.
and today's class, again, a very enlightening class, and a lot of important points. And one of the point, of course, which a lot of times it does come up, that is about sincerity in our devotional life. And at least for me personally, the more I think I need to become better, the more I feel I'm struggling, and then I keep doubting about my sincerity. Is it my sincerity not enough? Am I lacking in my sincerity, and how can I improve my sincerity? So that is my question, Mataji, to you.
Actually, you answered your own question. You are not doubting your sincerity, and you're definitely sincere if you are contemplating on it, right? If we just accept, oh, I'm sincere, that's not sufficient. You are contemplating, am I sincere? Am I not? So in that case, it is better to, if you're in doubt, it's better to approach a senior devotee and inquire, right? Inquire that, okay, these are the activities that I'm performing. And, does it look like I am being sincere or not? The fact that, excuse me, the fact that you are attending classes, you're hearing, you're chanting, that itself means you're sincere. If you were not, you won't be doing any of this. Does that make sense?
Right?
Yes,
Mataji.
And then one point that you mentioned, I remember Srila Prabhupada's point is, you said, I'm enjoying your classes. So there again, tendency to enjoy, whereas this enjoyment is good because it's spiritual, right? We are enjoying hearing Krishna Katha. That is good. So that desire to enjoy is there in all of us. Only thing, we just apply it in the right way.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for a very nice answer. Let me just take the opportunity here to render the apology to Radhapad Prabhu, because he left a text earlier talking about how wonderful the class was. But before I read it, I thought that she was just leaving it there because she had somewhere to go. But actually, he's very much present in hearing. He was just very impressed with the class, and therefore she sent a message earlier on. So, Prabhu, I'm sorry, but I know you're here. We can see your name clearly. Hare Krishna. All right, so if there's anyone else that wants to chime in, maybe share a realization, ask a question, like
Hey
that.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Please accept my humble obeisances. All
Mine,
glories
Gita Prabhupada.
to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to you, Mataji. Very nice lecture. Lot of information that we can follow. But, sometimes I have a question like, we should detach from the material things and attach to the devotional service, even to the family members and everything. But we still care and take care of them. So you said you should have affection but not attachment. So can you just clarify between attachment and affection? Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, it's quite simple. I'll give you an example. Say, excuse me, my son is growing up, and as a parent, it's our duty to give him good education, etc. Give him clothing, home to stay, etc., etc. But if we don't give him spiritual education at the same time, that is attachment. That we are only attached to his material welfare and not spiritual. But when we do both, we give him material as well as spiritual education, then that is affection. You see? So yes, we live with relatives, and we have family members who may or may not be Krishna conscious, and that's okay. But as long as we still care for them, we take care of them, we provide what they need, but at the same time, we try to give spiritual educations, opportunities to hear the holy name. Now, let me give you an example. Say, for instance, in my home, I have, say, my son is living with me, with his family, and is not interested in Krishna consciousness, that's okay. I will still take care of his family, but at the same time give an opportunity by how? By um, by chanting, having the kirtan going on or chanting going on in the house, which can be heard by them, not that asking them, oh, come sit here and listen to the holy name, but give them an opportunity to hear. You see, I'll give you an example. Whenever my husband goes by Uber, he puts on loud chanting in the car. The driver may not be interested, but at least he's getting an opportunity to hear the holy name. You see? Of course, the husband is doing it that, okay, I'm hearing it, but actually it's giving an opportunity to the driver to hear the holy name. So if we have family members who are not on the spiritual path or not interested in Krishna consciousness, then we still give them the opportunity to hear the holy name. That is called affection. So we are doing both. We are taking care of them materially as well as giving them an opportunity spiritually. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji, like you said, your family members are not interested in Krishna consciousness, that is what I was concerned, but you said if we chant and if they hear,
Yes.
that's more than enough. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Because that's all you can do. Like Prabhupada says, this is a very crude example, but Prabhupada says you can bring the horse to the water, but you cannot force the horse to drink. So similarly, we may be in situations where we have family members who are not interested. We cannot force them, but at least we can bring them to the holy name by chanting.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
It's very important, Mataji, making a point like that is very, very, very important. They may not be interested, but when they hear the holy name, they may not think much of it. But you see, there's a subconscious, and the subconscious will always pick up on it. The subconscious is what advertisers use. We say, oh, we don't like this advertisement, but you've seen it and you've heard about it, and it's registered in the subconscious. So when it's there in the subconscious, it is part of the subtle body. It will be there next time. It can come in. Of course, second point is also to have prashadam. And prashadam also has an effect. That's Krishna's mercy. So we still can help those who may not be interested in Krishna consciousness by these 2 points. And Mataji, thank you very much for bringing it up. Hare Krishna. Any other person that wants to, devotee that wants to ask a question or share a realization? Hare Krishna. Unmute yourself.
Hi, Krishna Mother, please accept my humble obeisances, all the Shishra Prabhupada. Mother, when you were speaking, such a wonderful class. Thank you so much for speaking about an amazing topic that, as you said, we all think that we'll live forever, and we will never die. And I was reading a lecture transcription of Jayapataka Swami last week on Friday, where he said that he had a question in his lecture, and he said, why does Krishna give us old age? And then Maharaj replied saying, that's the mercy of the Lord. It's like a writing on the wall, he said, where when, he says, for example, if you come, when you're driving and you come to a dead end, it's giving you a writing on the wall to make alternative plans. So Maharaj was saying how it's important that actually the old age is actually Krishna's mercy to remind us to prepare while we have the time, for the final examination. So I was really appreciating this very nice lecture because it really ties in with what Jayapataka Goswami mentioned in his lecture on Friday that I read. But my question, Mataji, is this, I've also read this in one of Prabhupada's transcription where he says that, Kali Yuga is progressing, and nowadays ISKCON temples is not what it used to be in the old days where many of us, lived in temple, and that's how we grew up. Now it's all in their own homes. And we always forget, that life, I mean, death can come in any time, unless we go to someone's funeral. Prabhupada says in one of his lectures is now we go to the funeral, then we say, oh, I'm going to be next. But once we leave the funeral, we forget. So Mother, how can we really prepare for the final examination? Like, because now it's all scattered. It's not like the old ISKCON days, you know? I'm sure you know what I mean. Now it's like it's in your own nucleus, and then you just go about life and you see devotees once a week for 3 hours, and that's it, which kind of slows down that consciousness. So how can we speed it up, Mother, if we should?
Yes, we definitely should speed up because we never know when it's going to be the last moment, you know. Though, of course, the mind says, no, you still have many more years to live, but it could be any moment. So, best thing would be to hear Srila Prabhupada every day, you know, hear one lecture of Srila Prabhupada every day. That is associating with Srila Prabhupada, and that's the best association we can get. So, one Bhagavatam class of Srila Prabhupada a day will keep Maya away, and it'll give us the spiritual strength to continue. Yes, it's true, we meet devotees only once a week for a little time, but then we have association, like Prabhupada says, I'm there in my books. You open my books and I'm associating with you. So reading, chanting attentively, hearing Srila Prabhupada, and then trying to even associate with other devotees as much as possible. It's not necessary that there has to be a in-person association. It could be over the phone too. You can pick up the phone and, you know, talk to some senior devotee and get some guidance, or, you know, discuss what we have read or heard, you know. That way we'll churn our hearts, and we'll be able to continue on the spiritual path. So these are some of the things we can do. Why do we have a Bhagavatam class every morning? To associate, to hear Krishna Katha, and you know, it's like injecting ourselves with Krishna consciousness. That's the power of Krishna Katha.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And as you're talking, I was thinking about this text in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 9. Machita Magata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantas Chamam Nityam Tushanti Charumanticha. Katayantas Chamam Nityam.
Yes.
That they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And this is exactly what happens in the morning when we come to Bhagavatam class.
Yes.
Thank you for the good injection here. The commies used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So the word says a Bhagavatam class and see the PowerPoint every day will keep Maya away. Thank you. I remember that. That's very nice. Hare Krishna. So anyone else would like to? We're in the top of the hour now, but any last questions or last realizations or takeaways that you'd want to stress that you're very happy about? Hare Krishna. Radha spoke for all of us. This wonderful lecture. Hare Krishna. Any last point?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Ansuya Mataji, that you're quoting Jayapataka Swami's answer, like, why old age? It's like a notice. It's a blessing. I like that very much, Mataji. That is very good.
Prabhu, even when I read it, I've never heard that kind of a question asked before. So it was very new to me. But when I read it, I said, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
I had heard somewhere, I don't know where this person, you know, goes to after death goes, you know, probably near God or whatever, and says, this is not fair. You should have given me some notice. You know, how can you just take me just like that? You know, I die and then I'm gone. And the Lord says, I gave you so many notices. I gave you your teeth falling, gray hair, you know, not being able to see, not being able to hear. All these were notices for you, but you didn't, you know, Pay attention
Pay
to
attention.
so old age is a notice for us approaching.
That's good. It's called Nearer My God to Thee. You get old. Yeah, you get
Actually,
old.
Mother, when you were speaking about that, I was remembering the second paragraph or somewhere in that same lecture by Jayapataka Swami, where he said that he quoted the pastime of Vidur, going and chastising his brother. You're sitting in this house like a dog, you kill these people, you cause the war, your teeth is falling, you're blowing up, throwing out mucus. What else more do you want?
Yeah.
Like it's it's in front of you and you're still enjoying it. Get out and go to the forest. That's
Yeah.
how Marsh put it, like so bluntly. In fact, Maharaj said that Vidur played the role of a spiritual master to his brother. And then he said that sometimes spiritual masters and spiritual mentors can be loving, and sometimes he uses the word they can be sledgehammers. Maharaj has a way with words.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but we do, I mean, Dhritarashtra really was sitting in the palace and being fed by the Pandavas when he was actually against the Pandavas. That was disgraceful. That's why Vidur used such a long and a very harsh word that you're sitting here like a dog. Imagine telling a king that he's acting like a dog now. Get
But
out.
he had a desire to enjoy. That's why he
Yeah,
was living there at the mercy of Pandavas.
yeah. It was a strong desire because he
Yes.
didn't like the idea that his brother was put in, Pandu. He didn't like the idea. That's why he tried to undermine this whole process. And when he got a chance to become a king because Pandu died, then he says, but it's actually mine, I'm the firstborn. Even after the war, he still was attached to being at the palace. Yeah, yeah. We learned this is good lesson for all of us to learn. Not to
Yeah.
be so attached, because if we're attached, we're coming back to the material world again. No good. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this is wonderful inspiration for all of us to
हरे
take.
कृष्ण प्रभु दंडवत
Hare Krishna.
प्रणाम
Hare
हरे
Krishna
कृष्ण
Bhakti. Hare Krishna
थैंक यू
Bhakti.
माता जी ने नो अब मैं थोड़ा बिजी हो गया दैट्स व्हाई आई
No
लास्ट
problem.
आई जॉइंड वेरी लास्ट मिनट बट आई वाज लिसनिंग क्वेश्चन आंसर्स थैंक यू गीता जी
Thank you,
हरे
Bhakti.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. Hey. All right then. If there are no more requests, then Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhivya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji. I look forward to your next lecture. Hare Krishna.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai